So trust the process, continue to work hard, and try to learn something from every situation. What are you going to take away from this? That's something that I do every single, whether that be at the end of a 2 weeks in a season, a month in a season. I actually keep notes of like every start by start, because I want to take away something from this. Like, hey, what do I need to get better at? What am I going to learn? How am I going to how am I going to continue to evolve and adapt to be the person that I want to be, competing at the highest level and being the best? And that's just kind of that drive. But I guess I would say, hey, continue to work hard. Don't stress too much. Your career's not over. Baseball's not over. You will be back to the person you were before. But what are you going to learn? Continue to work hard and try to take things away that you can add into your daily routine to where you're going to become a better person for it.
Awesome. Thank you. So Tarik, now I want to ask you another question. As a physical therapist trainer, we'd like to always grow, for ourselves so that we can better serve our clients. In your opinion, what makes great therapists great trainers?
That's a good question. And I think it comes back to, this is just my personal preference. Every person might be a little different, right? I think communication is key. Like communicating what you're doing, what the goal is, day by day, why these exercises, why am I doing these exercises to achieve, a certain goal, what the plan is. And that's something that I think you do a great job of, is like communication. I can walk in and say, hey, this is kind of bugging me, and then you kind of take your holistic approach. It might not just be like, oh, my forearm's a little sore today. All right, let's go check up and down the chain. And you communicate really well with what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And I think that's what makes a therapist great. Obviously you got to know what you're doing, what your stuff is, all the schooling that you've went through, but just communicating with the client, with the athlete on, what your goal is, or, why you're prescribing certain things. I think that's, that's what separates therapists, in my opinion.
That's great. Then I strive to make myself better on that department too. So.
No, you're great. You're great. You don't need to change much. I think just keep doing what you're doing. I'm very thankful for you.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Okay, Tarik, so now I'd like to ask you a few questions about your takeaway messages to the viewers. Okay, first of all, youth athletes and their parents. Especially nowadays, young athletes tend to play only one sport throughout the year, then creating more overuse type of injuries. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so first off, especially baseball related throwing athletes, right? Like overuse happens all the time, and it's happening at a level that's never been seen before, whether that be because of recruiting younger kids. Kids think they need to be at certain levels, throwing certain velocities at certain ages, which I think is so wrong. But there's a lot of kids specializing in sports now at a really early age. And, for me personally, I think it's wrong. I think you should try and play as many sports as you can. You never know what sport you're going to love, how it's going to transfer from one sport, sport A to sport B. It's about being an athlete, right? Gotcha. And you want to be as athletic as possible. And for me personally, my older brother went and played college basketball. That's what I wanted to do, was go play with him in college.
He's role model too.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was actually working out. He was sending me workouts from his college and stuff and what they were doing. And I was training to become not training to become a basketball player, but I was working out because I wanted to play college basketball.
Right.
So I'm doing all that stuff. And, my focus was in the gym, in the actual basketball gym, not just the weight room gym, but in that aspect. And I kind of played baseball on the weekends. And what happened was the better athlete I became, I started throwing, my velocity started to increase, dramatically, to where my focus was like, hey, I think I'm actually much better at baseball. I think I should pursue baseball as opposed to pursue basketball.
Wow.
And that was kind of a tough debate I had internally. It was like, hey, I love basketball, but I'm actually much better at baseball, so I should stick to throwing baseballs. You know, I'm left-handed. You know, I'm throwing.
Playing basketball really helped.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I you know, that's kind of what I, you know, give credit to, was like, hey, the only reason I was able to go play Division I baseball, even it's a mid-major, small school, whatever, to play Division I baseball was because of the work I was putting in basketball, which then translated right to baseball, and kind of saved and preserved the arm a little bit too.
Totally, I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is a big problem, is the whole overuse athlete thing. You know, I think, you know, let kids be kids, and if they want to play baseball, let them play baseball. But as a parent, I think it's almost smart sometimes to pull the reins back and be patient. You know, hey, we don't need to play baseball this weekend. You know, let's take this weekend off. Or, hey, there's a month here. Let's go into the gym and work on some preparation to kind of, you know, whatever, you know, get the body moving right, you know, or get a trainer involved and stuff like that.
That's right.
But yeah, I think that is a big problem today, and it's crazy to me that kids are like committing to play college football at like 13. I'm like,
I agree.
At 13, I don't even know what I was thinking about. So, but it definitely is a problem. And my advice would just be play as many sports as you can, and just go have fun and hang out with your friends, because, you know, the teammates that you have are, at least for me, were my best friends growing up. So it was always a ton of fun.
I see. That's great advice. Thank you. Especially coming from you, who made the success at the highest level on the professional sports. So yeah, that's great. So next, takeaway message to the viewers, like for the athletes who just got injured or going through the tough rehabilitation process. What kind of words would you like to give them?
Yeah, so I would say, you know, we've mentioned this before, but trust the process, and really do trust that. Like, just be day by day. Don't try to think of when, you know, you're supposed to return to sport, you know, or when that, you know, there's always a time frame, I feel like, put on injuries where it's 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12 months, 12 to 15. This is a 4-month rehab process. It's like, just stick day by day and get your work done, you know, show up on time, prepare your body, eat well, sleep well, and just trust the people that, you know, you surround yourself with, and just live day by day. I think that's the easiest way mentally to come back from those injuries, because physically, I think most time, if you are doing your exercises and stuff, you will come back, you know, you will come back to sport and perform at the level you were prior. But mentally, I think that's kind of where some people struggle, is like, you know, whether that be maybe some prolonged soreness or some stiffness in the joint or the muscle or whatever. Just take it day by day, don't stress, and just handle your business and trust the process.
Awesome. And fortunately, you're surrounded by lots of good people you can trust. At the same time, those people, I think they feel blessed to earn your trust, you know. How did they earn your trust?
How would a therapist?
Did they, yeah, therapists, trainers, people around you helping rehabilitation process, you know.
I think it's just like one, familiarity. So like it's gonna take a little bit of time for me. Like it's just hard for me to relax. But knowing you since 2016 all the way to, it's 2023 now. Wow, that's 7 years ago. Yeah, I think just takes a little bit of time, and then I don't know. I just start to really trust and see the results, and you kind of see your body feeling better, and you know, the symptoms that you're having are subsiding, going away, and you're starting to feel like you are again. I think that's where the trust really clicks in. Like, hey, I'm actually feeling better day by day. And that's where I think that trust level of like, hey, I really trust this person. They're really good at their job.
That's great. Thank you. What about, do you have any words for those teammates who is close to the athlete who just recently got injured? Because you have experience going through the injury, at the same time you are next to your teammates who just got injured too. So you know the both sides of that, you know, feeling. What advice do you have for those teammates? Yeah,
so I think that, you know, always keeping that steady, constant communication of like, hey, how you doing? You know, hey, how's this? You know, hey, you know, what's going on? Not just like how they are physically, but like where they're at mentally. You know what I mean? Like I think mentally is more of the hard thing in sports and injuries. I think that it is harder mentally than it is physically. But just checking in on them mentally, whether that be, checking in on whatever, other sports that you're watching, fantasy football, you want to go to dinner this night, stuff like that. I think is huge for guys that are just been hurt, to hear from, teammates and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And just like you said in the past, when you're going back to the college, then watching your teammates playing, sometimes you feel like you don't belong there, kind of mentality. Gotcha.
Yeah, just being supportive. I think that just comes down to being a good person and caring for people.
True.
No matter what the situation is.
That's awesome. Great. So now, last question to you. So you have gone through some rehabilitation, then lots of success in professional baseball and another injuries. So now let's rewind the time, going back to 2016. You just got injured that time, went through the surgery. Throughout those years, you gained so much wisdom, experience. What would you tell that young yourself, 2016, going through that rehabilitation, going through that process? Any advice to that young Tarik Skubal?
Yeah, I would say, don't be discouraged. Injuries happen. It's just part of sport. It's a throwing sport. It's one of the most violent things that you can really do to your body, honestly, in sports. So trust the process, continue to work hard, and try to learn something from every situation. What are you going to take away from this? That's something that I do every single, whether that be at the end of a 2 weeks in a season, a month in a season. I actually keep notes of like every start by start, because I want to take away something from this. Like, hey, what do I need to get better at? What am I going to learn? How am I going to, how am I going to continue to evolve and adapt to be the person that I want to be, competing at the highest level and being the best? And that's just kind of that drive. But I guess I would say, hey, continue to work hard. Don't stress too much. Your career's not over. Baseball's not over. You will be back to the person you were before. But what are you going to learn? Continue to work hard and try to take things away that you can add into your daily routine to where you're going to become a better person for it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So now, Tarik, you are going back to the team next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Then 2023 season coming. Then you're going to be able to go back and eventually pitch. What are you looking forward to do in 2023 season?
I'm looking forward to throw again, obviously, coming off of the surgery, but
next week.
Yeah. But I think I'm just looking forward to being around the team again and having fun and enjoying it, because it is a game. At the end of the day, it's a baseball game. You're playing a kid's sport. I understand there's business involved, but you're playing a kid's sport, and I'm just looking forward to enjoying that and being around the guys in the clubhouse and just having fun and being able to play baseball. I think I live a very blessed life, and I'm just looking forward to get back into that and get back into the swing of things and going out there and competing. I think it's a ton of fun. Yeah,
that's right. Awesome. And before closing, Tarik, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I guess my advice to youth, just have fun, go out there and play, have fun, play sports. They're fun, they're meant to be fun, don't get too upset. But yeah, I guess that would be my, my final thoughts is just have fun, enjoy life, and domo, baby.
I like it, domo, baby.
Well, first off, I want to thank you, K2, for having me on, and the audience that's listening, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, today. And if there's any questions, please reach out on social media, whatever it may be. I'll try to answer as many questions, but thanks for having me. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a blast. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So at the end, we're going to do this, Tarik. Ready? Okay. Positive vibes only. Domo, baby. Thank you so much for doing that.